Are you so frustrated you just don't know what to do about it? You're just so frustrated with that golf swing, you can't seem to get the ball to go from here to there, you can't get consistent, and you just don't know what's going on. Well, today I'm going to show you something that you really need to be aware of, that you must be doing, and I will stress must. And this is one of my secrets I'm going to share with you today. So don't go anywhere, I'll be with you very shortly. Hey there, Tiff the Lady Golf Teacher, and welcome to today's tip. I find, most people's problem with their golf swing is inconsistency. And you may be feeling the same way. You might say, Tiff, I just can't get consistent. And that's the most common term used in golf when people come to have lessons with me, whether they come and have private or they come to a consistency clinic or any other clinics that I run. They're out on the golf course and I'm out there with them. I just can't get consistent. Now there's a reason that you can't get consistent. One of them is actually not practicing the right stuff. Okay, so if you're not reproducing the right thing each time to make sure that the ball works, that's a definite, right? So you need to make sure that you're practicing that. But what do you practice? Well, I'm going to show you today what you need to be practicing, okay? Now, I'm just following what I'm about to tell you. I'm going to actually demonstrate to you with 2 videos on what goes on in that swing, how this lady that I teach, Penny, how she makes contact with the ball and when she makes a mistake. Because I want you to see the difference between the two. So I'll show you that first so that you can actually see what I'm talking about, and then we'll come back and I'll work through it with you. Okay, so here we are. I've brought you in. I just want to show you the swing. So what I wanted to show Penny, and this is what I'm going to show you as well, is when things aren't working, this is what's going on. Now, you may find that this happens with you too, so I just want to make you aware. So what happens when Penny doesn't quite hit the ball the way that she wants to is usually because what happens here is the club face will actually turn a little bit left, so it'll twist a little bit left, and the ball tends to shoot out a lot lower. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that. So when it comes through, as you can see here, as the clubs come through, the balls actually stay quite low. Okay, now what else we notice here too is what happens with Penny's hand. It's a little bit difficult to see here, but what actually happens is her right hand twists a little bit. Okay, so the right hand's twisting a little bit when she makes contact with the ball, and what happens from that point is then the ball comes through a little bit lower. So the club face here is twisting just a little bit around to the left that way, and then the ball shoots out quite low through here, and it's not a real clean shot. So as you can see, that the trajectory of the ball's quite low. So what I'll do now is I'll move you across to the other one and I'll show you what happens here. Okay, so this is the second swing that we did. Now, what I suggested to Penny was to make sure that the club face stayed nice and straight through contact with the ball, and watch what happens here. Look at the trajectory. So the ball instantly, once she makes good contact with that ground just before the ball will end up climbing up the club face and it goes straight up. So we get a better trajectory. So rather than the one that we had before that stayed quite low and was shooting out this way, this ball actually starts to pop up. Right, so you can see here just in the corner here it's starting to disappear, but it's quite high as opposed to the ball before was quite low. So I'll show you both of them together. Okay, so here we are. I've managed to get it together. So what I want you to see here is look at both. We've got this one, the bottom one. This is the one that we want, and then this is the one where the errors crop up. Okay, so you'll see here that when we come through and make contact, so you can see that this is shooting out low. Now you watch what happens with this one here. It actually shoots
and it pops up. So it's actually popped straight. You can't, it's just almost out of view there, but the ball's actually popped straight up. Whereas the one above, this is when the errors happen, it actually shoots out quite low. Okay, so what we want to do is when we make contact with the ball, we want the ball to be like launching off the club face, so it's popping straight up, like in this one, as opposed to staying low.
Okay, you found that really interesting, didn't you? Did you notice that when the hands were moving, right? So when Penny was making contact with the ball and the hands were moving, she didn't actually make good contact, right? The club didn't work as well, the ball didn't elevate. Whereas when she kept her hands nice and still coming through, and also the club face therefore stayed nice and still coming through, you notice that the ball worked. You notice the difference between the trajectory, didn't you? The one where the hands were twisting, the ball tended to stay much lower, didn't it? And the one where the ball was, when Penny made contact with the ball and the wrist was nice and straight at contact and the hands weren't moving or anything, the ball instantly elevated off the club face. It was amazing, wasn't it? Now that's how intricate it can be. So we want to make sure that in order for you to get the most out of your golf game and get that consistency, we need to make sure that you're doing that, right? Not the twisting the hands and trying to help the ball work, because that actually stops the ball from working. It's actually just making sure when you're coming through, you're keeping your hands quite still, right? So you're keeping your hands still and you're keeping the club face nice and straight coming through. So it's a very, very simple thing that we need to do. Yet, sounds simple, but actually doing it, especially if you've been doing a particular way and you've been hitting the ball, it can be difficult, okay? So I'm going to show you what you can work on, but then you've got to go and spend the time working on it. So this is all we're going to do. We're going to just do a little tick-tock back and through, but when we come through, we want to make sure that our hands are in that position, okay? They're not moving, right? So we go back, through, hold. It's a bit like a chip shot, isn't it? So if you've ever seen any of the chip shots that I've ever done, you'll see the same thing. It's all the same, right? It's all about your contact. If you make good solid contact, then the ball works so much better. So we'll do it again. Back, through, hold, right? Notice my hands aren't twisting, right? So when I'm coming through, I'm not twisting, I'm just keeping them straight. If I keep the hands straight, what happens to the club face? It stays straight, doesn't it? Okay, one more for you. Back, through, hold. Simple, right? But you need to be actually working on the smaller part of your golf swing, which means your contact. Get that right first, and then you can build the rest of your swing. But if that's not right, that is why you'll be inconsistent. Everyone thinks that it's got something to do with what they're doing up here. It's everything about what you're doing at contact. Okay, get that piece right, and then everything will be so much better. Okay, so how did you find that? Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Absolutely, but you got to make sure that you do it. Go and practice it. Don't come and tell me, Tiff, I'm not consistent, I just can't get consistent. Go and work on that, then come and tell me that you're not consistent, because then we'll have a look at the swing, okay? So I hope you enjoyed today's tip. I'd love it if you could leave a comment down below and share with me what you like best about what you heard today and saw. And I'd love it if you could share it with friends that you know that would benefit from these videos, because remember, we want to build the Lady Golf Teacher community as big as we possibly can. So in the meantime, tee it high, let it fly. Have an absolutely awesome day. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.